For over 25 years, Kate Winslet has smiled, laughed, and dodged one question that the whole world keeps asking. Are you and Leonardo DiCaprio more than just friends? But recently, something changed. Kate stopped dodging. She started talking. And what she said left a lot of people completely speechless. This is not the story you think you know. To understand why Kate's words hit so hard, you have to go back to where it all began. The year was 1996. A young 21-year-old woman from Reading, England stepped onto one of the biggest movie sets in Hollywood history. She had no idea that the man she was about to meet would become the most important person in her life outside of her own family. That man was Leonardo DiCaprio. He was 22 years old, young, already famous, and full of energy. The film was Titanic, and nobody on that set could have predicted what was about to happen between these two people. Director James Cameron has always been known for pushing actors to their absolute limits. The Titanic shoot was brutal. Cold water, long hours, physical exhaustion, and a level of pressure that would break most people. Kate later admitted that filming Titanic was, in her own words, far from pleasant. But something incredible happens when two people go through something hard together. They bond in a way that normal life simply cannot create. And that is exactly what happened between Kate and Leo. By the time the cameras stopped rolling, these two were not just co-stars. They were something much deeper, something that Hollywood had not really seen before. A friendship so real, so honest, and so unbreakable that it would survive 25 years of fame, heartbreak, marriages, divorces, and everything else life threw at them. Now here is where things get truly remarkable. In 2008, about 11 years after Titanic came out, Kate and Leo were back together on a film set. This time, they were making Revolutionary Road, a drama about a troubled married couple. And during the making of that film, Kate had a dream. Not just any dream. A dream so powerful and so personal that she felt she had to tell Leo about it the very next day. In the dream, Kate gave Leonardo a small paperweight. And engraved on that paperweight were 6 simple words. Wherever you go, I will go too. That was it. 6 words. But when Kate sat down and told Leo about that dream, something happened that nobody expected. Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the most celebrated actors in the world, started to cry. Not because the dream was sad, but because it was so true. Those 6 words perfectly described what their friendship had always been. Quiet, loyal, and forever. But Kate did not stop there. She and Leo decided to make the dream real. By the time they wrapped up filming on Revolutionary Road, they had each given each other a keepsake with those exact words engraved on it. Wherever you go, I will go too. 2 people in one of the most competitive industries in the world choosing to hold onto each other like that. That is not something you see every day. That is not something you fake for cameras or publicity. That is real. But wait, because there is something about their friendship that almost nobody talks about. Something that happened right in the middle of filming Revolutionary Road that Kate described as undeniably weird. And honestly, once you hear it, you will understand exactly why she used that word. Keep watching, because this part of the story changes everything. Here is the thing about Revolutionary Road that most people completely glossed over at the time. The film was not directed by just any Hollywood director. It was directed by Sam Mendes, Kate Winslet's husband at the time. Let that sink in for a moment. Kate's husband was standing behind the camera, watching through a lens, and giving instructions as his wife and her closest male friend acted out romantic and intimate scenes together on screen. Kate has openly called the whole situation undeniably weird. And really, how could it not be? Here you have a woman acting out deep emotion and passion with her best friend of over a decade while her husband watches from the director's chair and tells them both to do it again, try it differently, and give it more feeling. It is the kind of situation that most people would find incredibly uncomfortable. But Kate did it. She delivered one of the finest performances of her career on that film. She won the Golden Globe for that role in 2009. And at the ceremony, she stood up and thanked Sam for directing, calling him babe from the stage in front of the entire audience. That moment told you everything about how grounded Kate Winslet truly is as a person. Her marriage to Sam Mendes eventually ended in 2010, but it ended on good terms. And through all of it, her friendship with Leo never wavered. Not even slightly. Think about how rare that is. A friendship that survives the beginning of a marriage, the making of an incredibly intimate film, the end of that same marriage, and still comes out stronger on the other side. Now let us talk about something Kate has only recently been fully open about. Something that goes beyond the films and the awards and the red carpets. Something deeply personal. When Titanic came out in 1997, it made Kate Winslet one of the most famous women on the planet almost overnight. And with that level of fame came something very dark. The public, the press, and the industry started picking apart her appearance in a way that was cruel and relentless. At a time when Hollywood had a very specific idea of what a leading lady should look like, Kate did not fit that mold in the way people expected. And the criticism was brutal. Kate has spoken about how alone she felt during that period. How the pressure to look a certain way, to be thinner, to fit into a smaller box, was suffocating. She was young, she was newly famous, and she was being torn apart by people who had never met her and knew nothing about her. It was a genuinely dark time in her life. But then Leo said something to her. Something so simple and so honest that Kate has carried it with her ever since. He looked at her and said, "It is really important that you are the shape that you are." He told her that too many women believe that success, love, and beauty only come to those who are thin. And he told her that she was proof that this was simply not true. For Kate, those words changed everything. They sparked something inside her, a fire that has never gone out. She went on to become one of the most powerful voices for body positivity and self-acceptance in the entire entertainment industry. She has challenged magazine editors who tried to airbrush her photos. She has stood on stages and spoken openly about age, beauty standards, and the damage that Hollywood's expectations do to young women. And a big part of that strength came from one loyal friend who told her the truth when she needed it most. There is one moment in this story that you absolutely need to know about. A moment that happened on one of the biggest nights in Hollywood. A moment that was caught on camera and seen by millions of people around the world. And yet most people have no idea what it truly meant. We are talking about the night Leonardo DiCaprio finally won his Oscar. And the very first person he reached for was Kate. February 2016. The Oscars. Leonardo DiCaprio had been nominated for an Academy Award 5 times before that night. 5 times he had sat in that audience and watched someone else go home with a prize. And after all those years, after all that work, after The Revenant, the night finally came. His name was called. And as he stood up from his seat, the first person he hugged, the very first person he reached for in that room full of Hollywood's biggest names, was Kate Winslet. Not a girlfriend, not a family member, his best friend, the woman who had known him since he was 22 years old. Kate has described Leo as a solid and loyal person and a great friend to everyone around him. And that hug in that moment told the whole story better than any interview ever could. These are not two people who smile at each other on red carpets and go home to separate worlds. These are two people who genuinely love each other in the most honest and uncomplicated way possible. Then came the pandemic. 3 years. That is how long Kate and Leo went without seeing each other in person. Not because they stopped caring, but because the world shut down and neither of them could travel freely. When they finally reunited in Los Angeles, Kate could not hold back her tears. She later reflected on that meeting and said something that stopped people in their tracks. She said she had known Leo for half of her entire life. Think about that. Half a life shared with one person. Half a life of phone calls and keepsakes and showing up for each other through everything. Kate described their reunion as deeply emotional. She talked about how strange it was to miss someone so much and then suddenly have them right in front of you again. She said they had not been able to grab coffee or sit down for dinner together the way normal friends do because neither of them could leave their countries. She said simply, "We missed each other because of COVID." And in those few plain words was everything. All the love, all the loyalty, all the years. Just sitting there quietly in one honest sentence. There is one final piece of this story that brings everything full circle. In 2012, Kate Winslet married Edward Abel Smith in a small and private ceremony. No big Hollywood production. No massive guest list. Just the people who mattered most. And walking Kate down the aisle on that day was not a family member. It was Leonardo DiCaprio, the boy she had met on a film set 16 years earlier. The man who cried when she told him a dream. The friend who told her she was beautiful exactly as she was. That man walked her into her new life. There is a word for what Kate and Leo have, but it is not one Hollywood uses very often. It is simply friendship. Real, deep, tested by time friendship. No romance. No drama. No competition. Just two people who chose each other a long time ago and never stopped choosing each other since. Kate Winslet has finally spoken up. And what she has told the world is not what most people were expecting. There is no secret romance. There is no hidden drama. There is just a friendship that most of us will spend our whole lives hoping to find. A friendship built in cold water on a brutal film set, held together by honesty and loyalty, and strong enough to survive everything that fame and life can throw at two people. In a world that is always looking for a scandal, Kate and Leo keep offering something far more rare, something far more valuable. And maybe that is why the world has never been able to look away from them. Not because of what might have been between them, but because of what clearly, undeniably, and beautifully is. So here is what we want to know from you. Do you think a friendship like this deep, this long, and this honest, is still possible in today's world? Or has fame, social media, and the pressure of Hollywood made something like this impossible to find? Drop your answer in the comments right now. We read every single one. And if this story moved you even a little, hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed so you never miss the next one. The video coming up on your screen right now is one you are absolutely going to want to see. We will see you there.